Hi guys, welcome back. This is going to be a video kind of piggybacking off the last video I made about how I moved out at 18. But this video is going to be more focused on credit, like building your credit, managing your credit cards, loans, and stuff like that. And I'm not going to try to make this video too long. I want it to be a little bit short, but it's just going to be a few tips that I've learned over the years. Literally just stuff I learned, stuff people told me, and like little tips that you hear around, but like more into detail. So first thing is starting your credit. The best option would to be opening up a credit card, but not just any credit card. It would probably be best if you did it with a credit union or maybe a bank that you and your family have banked at for a long time. So maybe they're more trusting and willing to give you a credit card. And I would really suggest to get a unsecured card and not a secured card, only because secured cards require a deposit. They don't have a high spending limit, and they don't really build your credit as fast as a unsecured card would. And honestly, like, lenders are gonna be more concerned about unsecured credit history that you had in opposed to like secured credit cards. So if you can, I would call around, especially the banks, like credit unions in your local area, and ask them what kind of credit card deals they have for people with no credit. Students is even a better thing to mention if you are a student, because they have so many student credit cards with perks like cash back and stuff, and that was actually my first credit card. But I didn't go through a credit union like I did for my auto loan. I actually went to Capital One and they approved me right away. And I think it was because I had made car payments already by that time. So they had like something to approve me based on. And I also went on Credit Karma, which showed me my credit score, because Credit Karma is not always accurate. It's usually like a few points lower than your actual score is that people check. So I saw that it was good. So I was like, if it's good here, then it's probably really good for when they run my credit. So it also gave me suggestions on cards that I was likely to get approved for. And you will see if you have Credit Karma or any other like app kind of like that, they will show you cards and they will juxtapose them and show you the pros and cons of each card and your likelihood of getting approved. So that's how I went about it, and I applied through the Capital One website from Credit Karma, and it was a student journey card. So basically it was a cashback type of card. I think I got like over $500 maybe in cashback from that card, because it accumulates over time, and it was really easy in the app to like move your cashback to your like you can use it as paying off your credit card basically. I started with that, and then I started opening up more credit cards that had better interest rates. And like you'll see that some credit cards have intro interest rates, which is basically like no interest for like 18 months. You can like transfer balances from other credit cards to the one with no interest, so it saves you some money. Some have cash back like 5%, 1% on stores, at gas stations. You really have to just look at the details of the credit cards. So I was going after those ones, but I feel like I opened up credit cards way too fast because I got really excited, and then it stopped me from opening ones that I really wanted to in the future, because some banks like Chase, for example, they have they have rules where if you have like more than 5 credit cards, they won't give you a credit card. It doesn't matter like if they don't have balances, if you have a good credit score, they just won't give you one if you have 5 already. And this made me really sad, because the Chase card I wanted was an Amazon rewards one, and they had like a $150 introduction thing where you can get like $150 worth of stuff on Amazon with the credit card at no charge. Like they covered it if you open the credit card. And they also give you like cash back on purchases from Amazon, so you can use like points towards your Amazon purchases, stuff like that. It was super cool, but I couldn't get it because I had too many credit cards. So don't make the same mistake and get really excited about getting approved for a credit card that you want to go and open a bunch of other credit cards, because when you're in stores, they're gonna ask you, do you want to save 5% and open a credit card? Always say no, because most of the time their interest rates are super high, like 20% and higher, and the perks, they're just not that good. They're not worth it. Like most retail store cards, they don't have cash back at most stores except for just their store, and even then like they're not that great. So do be wary of that, and also be wary of yearly fees, because some cards, they charge you like $50 to $100 just to use the credit card, which is so stupid because they're already charging you a lot of money in interest, a lot of money in overdraft fees, and you know banks are shady. So do not get a credit card that charges you yearly, because there's so many other credit cards out there that don't. So just don't even think about those. Like American Express, a lot of those cards have yearly fees. Just stay away from those. But if I could suggest a really good rewards credit card bank, I would think like Discover and Chase have really good point cards. So whether it be like Flying Mile points or Amazon points, it really depends on your lifestyle. So there's literally points for every type of lifestyle, honestly. Even Disneyland like has certain cards that give you a lot of bonus points. Just do some researching. There's so many options out there, and you're gonna feel really good once you research several cards instead of just getting the first card that you like get an offer in the mail. So definitely just don't be quick to just grab any credit card. Okay, so now that you have started your credit, understanding your credit is a big thing when it comes to your credit score. Understand that the most important thing that will affect your credit score is how much credit you're using. And this isn't just like how many loans you've had. This is how much credit you're using on your credit cards only. That's like the main thing that matters for your credit score. Because the moment you pass 30% of your credit usage over the span of 1 month, like when you're carrying that balance, that's when your credit score is going to go down. And as soon as you pay it off, that's when it's going to shoot right up. Like, it's crazy. I don't know why it's like that. It just is. But besides that, the next thing is late payments and delinquencies. You never ever want to go more than a month to 60 days missing a payment, because that's when they'll report it to the credit bureaus, and it'll stay on your report for 7 years. So yeah, it'll stay on your credit score for a very long time, and it'll take kind of a while to build back up, because once you miss a payment and it's reported, your score will be down, and it'll stay down for like a little while. For example, Antonio, he missed a payment like I think 2 years ago, and now it's just starting to get back up to 700s again. So that's how long it took for that payment to kind of get buried away. And it was only one payment. Honestly, he just forgot about the credit card, because it wasn't like he had an app on his phone, so he just forgot. And now it is on his credit score for a very long time. So when you do get auto loans, any loan, any credit card, make sure that you set up auto pay and have those apps on your phone so you're never missing a payment. Even write out a chart, like your payment day, what payment, how much it is. Budget your money so you'll never miss a payment, because it'll really benefit you when you're trying to keep a good credit score. I would also suggest trying to pay off your credit cards within 1 to 3 months, because you do not want that interest to build up. It will build up each month. It'll tack it on, and then you'll feel suffocated and buried underneath interest, and it'll suck trying to pay them off. Also, it'll make your credit score bad, as I mentioned before. So it really is a good idea to pay it off, because then lenders will lend you more and more money. Even when you get a balance like limit with one credit card, you'll see that over time they'll increase it based on how much you're using and paying off your credit card. Back to understanding your credit. So late payments, credit utilization. The next worst and baddest thing, I don't even know if that's a word, baddest thing that you can do for your credit is getting shit sent to collections. If you have something in collections, that is when your credit score will be really bad, and you're gonna want to contact the collection agencies and try to negotiate to lower the amount you owe. Get it as low as possible so you can pay it off quick, but don't pay it off until you get in writing that they will delete it. It's called like a goodwill deletion or something like that, but get in writing you can do this. Do not let them tell you that you can't, because you can. Ask, I want sent to me in writing and signed that once I pay off this debt to you, you will delete it from my credit score, and my credit bureaus will no longer have it reported. And once you'd paid off and do that, they should delete it. And if they don't delete it by the time that they say, call back and make sure that they get it deleted. That will really save your ass, because if you have anything in collections showing on your report, it can like affect you getting an apartment, getting a mortgage in the future. It can affect a lot of things, and I'm not really sure how long it stays on your report, but I know it's a long time, at least 7 years. Okay, so when you open credit, you want to open more accounts as the months and years go on. I think it's like 11 accounts that you've ever had is like in the positive field. Right now I think I have like 15 credit accounts that have been open, like student loans, auto loans, credit cards. I'm like in a good section, I guess, for credit lenders, because they want to see that you've had experience with borrowing money from different accounts. And right now my credit score is about 700, but it could be a lot better, like almost 800 if I paid off my credit cards. And that's in part to having so much experience with credit, having so many accounts, and always making my payments on time. I've never missed a payment and never went to collections. So when it comes to late payments, if you think you won't have the money on time, make sure that you call them and let your bank know and ask them to waive the late fee, and if they can maybe give you a grace period to pay that payment on time. And so they'll know. You do want to avoid any extra fees because you don't want to pay $35 for being broke. So make sure that they know. And even if that does pass and you do get that fee, I would call and ask them to remove it. Like, say that you thought it was on auto pay, or you set it up and you don't understand why it didn't go through. I don't know, something. Just like ask them to take it off. Most of the time they will. Like, I've had so many late fees taken off from my credit account, even overdraft fees and my debit card, and you know, it doesn't hurt to ask. So before applying for certain loans, if it's like a personal loan, an auto loan, whatever, even a credit card, always look to see which credit bureau they pull from, because there's like Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So look to see where they pull from and then check your credit score in that bureau to make sure it's at a good standing before you apply. Because if it's bad and you apply, you're gonna get denied, and then it's gonna be on your credit score, because hard pulls stay on your credit score for 2 years. So, you know, you want to make sure that you are in a good credit standing before you apply and risk having that on your report for no reason. And speaking of hard pulls, there's this thing called soft pull and hard pull. So before you give someone your social security number, like for an apartment or whatever, ask them if it's going to be a hard pull or a soft pull. Soft pulls mean they'll just look at, you know, the basics of your credit score, and it won't affect your credit score. You won't even see it on your report. Hard pulls is when they'll put it on your report that they checked your credit, and then it'll count towards your inquiries on your credit report. And you don't want to pass 3 or 4 on your report within 2 years, because then it'll start making your credit score low, and people don't like to see that you're trying to borrow money all the time. So it's always best to make sure you don't take a lot of hard pulls. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is student loans, because this is something that I've seen bites a lot of people in the ass, and it's really good to understand your rights. I would recommend getting student loans from the government, basically. So you're borrowing, they're called Stafford loans. So when you borrow a loan that your school allows you to pull from Stafford loans, their interest rate will be so low, like 3%. Some even don't have any interest rates. Those are called subsidized loans. So basically the government's paying for your interest for those loans until you pay them off. Unsubsidized is when they don't pay it off, but it's still low interest rate compared to more third parties. So definitely exhaust your government assisted loans before you go to somewhere like Sallie Mae, because those interests will be much higher, and they don't have a lot of leniency as government loans. And what I mean by that is government loans, they have these things called IPRs, which it's like income driven payment plans, where you tell them how much money you're making, and you may or may not have to prove it eventually. But be honest and tell them if you can't afford it, call the person who's controlling your loan. Mine is Nailnet, so I called Nailnet and they reduced my payments. So if you feel like you cannot pay back your student loan right away, definitely call and apply for an income-driven payment plan. The one bad thing about that is it'll tack on interest all those times that you're not paying, obviously, like until you pay it off. Like the ones that aren't subsidized will obviously accrue interest, but you can apply for forgiveness eventually. I think it's 10 years for like people who become educators, and then I forgot the other thing that you can apply in a shorter time, which is the 10-year time frame. And then they have 20 years. So it's like 10 to 20 years. You really have to call and just ask when you qualify for forgiveness. But basically, when that time is up and you apply, the loan amount that you owe will just disappear. So keep that in mind, that you can ask for help when paying a loan, especially if it's a Stafford loan. Don't like try to avoid it and pretend it's not there, because it'll just end up having you in collections and it'll just screw yourself in the end. So yeah, that's about all that I can think of. There are some little things that I did that kind of I finessed my way into some credit situations, but I don't want to get too in detail about that because I don't want to lead anyone astray, because I'm not sure if it'll work for everyone. But those are just basic tips that I think will help you and that I know are totally legal and totally good to know. So I'm glad that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it can help you build your credit.